Okay, here I go again, using truth, common sense that most people don't have. What are you going to do, man? You've heard of freeze dried food. You can get Peak or you can get Mountain House. Which one should you get? Mountain House is cheaper. Peak is more money. Peak is like $4 more, $13.95 and $9.63. So a lot of people are going to go for the Mountain House. So there's a lot of things to consider here when you buy freeze dried food. They are expensive, and that's no two ways about it. Now, they do have the weight factor. They don't weigh as much. So a lot of people like them. I mean, I can carry 7 days of food in a freeze dried food and literally, what, under 5 pounds? Under three? I mean, carries no weight whatsoever, and that's the biggest ordeal. Now, at the same time, they taste good, right? You put these together, they taste good. Now, I've heard stories about Mountain House. I've heard they put sawdust and it's just flavored up. I mean, that's just my opinion. I've read about it. I don't know if it's true. I'd like to think it's not, but with today's world, you never know, right? And just the way it is. Now, of course, everything in these pictures could be a lie. Because as with the world today, no corporation, no business has to tell the truth for some reason. And there's no stipulations or rules they have to follow. But there is one thing that you're not getting, and you're actually going to kill yourself. Yep, you heard me. You're going to kill yourself. And I see hundreds and thousands of preppers out there doing it. Back in the old days, years ago, when these big time preppers, they actually watched me. And I bitched at everybody. I must have bitched at 100 people saying you need to go get your pack fitted. Because everybody was running 100 and 150 pound packs. In the old days, I actually turned around and posted their video and critiqued their bug out bags. And I almost got banned from YouTube for doing it. I ended up with 2 strikes. People were unhappy that I was doing that. People did not want to learn. And that's all there was to it. They were way overweight. The average person was 80 pounds. They were like, well, it's not a big deal. I'm a young guy. I can carry the weight. I never heard such bullshit come out of their mouths because they wanted to be right. When people want to be right, it doesn't matter how much truth you tell, they're not going to listen. And that's the sad part. Because after all, as human beings, we are right all the time. We're never wrong. Isn't that funny? But the truth is, as human beings, we have a hard time believing when we're wrong. And that's the sad part. So let's do a couple comparisons, and if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you why you're going to die. That most people don't even know about. Now that looks pretty good, Mountain House. Looks all right. Little pieces of chunks there, whatever they are. Average looking girl eating some out of a nice bowl sitting on a stream. Oh, what a picture. I wonder how long it took to get that picture. TerraCycle. I have no idea what the hell that is. They want me to read about something else? All I care about is how much it's costing me. 30-year guarantee. What a good guarantee. Sounds like a Sawyer. So, by law, they have to do this. They have to list this. If this wasn't put here, they wouldn't do it. Just the way it is. They always say the first ingredients on a package is what's in it. So they make sure to put the first ingredient is beef stroganoff with a colon. That's not the first ingredient. Okay, they're saying the first ingredient is beef, but in brackets they've got a beef rosemary extract salt cornstarch. Well, that shit's not healthy for you. Go look it up. Second ingredient, high Alika sunflower oil, sour cream, cultured cream, skim milk, enzymes. They say if you can't read it, it's not good for you. That's the second ingredient. The third, yeast extract salt, less than 2% of mushrooms and brown sugar. Oh, we got brown sugar in there. Are you seeing anything in those ingredients that look like they're good for you? May contain some milk and wheat and egg, because sometimes people are allergic to that. Again, they have to put that. We don't want people getting killed. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So basically, Mountain House is no better than McDonald's, my opinion. Why buy this shit? Okay? Let's go look at the other one. Let's look at Peak. Now, they're more money. Non-GMO, high proteins. They're advertising everything about their ingredients. They're advertising it because it's got better shit, apparently. So let's go to theirs. And you notice it's the same thing. It's beef stroganoff, right? So Peak is saying their first ingredient is stroganoff sauce, sour cream, cultured milk and cream, enzymes, heavy cream, mushrooms, flours for thickening, enriched wheat flour, niacin, reduced iron. Well, what does reduced iron mean? Oh, we were going to put 50 grams, but we're going to put 25. Just stupid. Thiamine, riboflavin, folic acid. What the blank? What am I looking at here? Okay, they're advertising all this good stuff, but when I start reading this, this stuff will kill you. Okay? So what's the goal of these freeze-dried companies? I mean, why wasn't that just... Well, let me back up. The other thing you'll notice about these companies that make these freeze-dried foods is they add a lot of rice, a lot of macaroni. Everything's a lot of carbs. And to a fat guy, or to a diabetic like myself, this shit's no good for me. Now, if I'm putting the miles on and I'm eating this, I'll be fine. But this is not good for a person that's overweight or a person that is not in that great shape. I mean, if you're somebody that weighs, 160 pounds soaking wet and you got a size 32 waist, and hell yeah, you can eat this shit and be good to go. Right? But a lot of your preppers are fat. A lot of your preppers are overweight, like myself. I'm probably 30 pounds overweight. But we automatically gravitate to this stuff. Why? We gravitate to it because everybody says we should buy it. And that makes no sense. You're following the crowd again, man. Stop following the crowd. So, in other words, a person should not carry Mountain House or any type of freeze-dried food unless you're in really good shape. You eat this shit too long, it'll start breaking down the insides of your body. Okay? So, let's talk about why will this shit kill you? Now, I see everybody doing this, okay? They'll put these in their get-home bags, their bug-out bags, every bag they got, and they'll go, we got food to eat on the road. Do you know how hot your fucking car gets? Or your truck? Go take a look at the heat in your car. We got kids dying in cars in the summer. In Tennessee, if I put this shit in a car, within 48 hours, it's spoiled. You can't put this in a car when it's 120, 140 degrees. One thing is definitely going to happen. You are going to get food poisoning. And if you've never had food poisoning, oh my God, you don't want that. I had that once and I was like, oh, I thought I was going to die. And I mean it. People die of food poisoning every year. And it just wears a toll on you. Now, if you got a backpack on and you're trying to get home and everything's good, you're healthy, EMP attack, nuke went off, whatever. You throw your pack on, you walk a good 6 hours, you say, oh man, I'm getting some hungry. You turn around and you hook up the beef stroganoff noodles, either company. You eat it, and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, you're heaving up your guts, and you can barely walk, and you're extremely hot, and you can't even get down the road. You find yourself crawling off into a ditch like a dead animal, laying there. You can't even set up your tent. You're pushing your backpack away from you because you don't want to get any puke on it. It's literally going to take you 3 days of laying there. And you're not going to care if it's cold. You're not going to care if the mosquitoes are eating on you. You're not going to care if the ticks are climbing on you. You're not going to give a shit. You're in so much pain. For the ones that are strong, you're going to try and get up, try to put that tent up, try to do this, try to do that, and then you're going to get puke all over everything. You're going to want to drink a certain amount of water to actually make your body start feeling better. But the only problem is you only got so much water you carried on you. and you don't know where the next watering hole was. Now, if you're lucky and you got the food poisoning near a watering hole, well, you just might make it a little bit better because now you got some water you can filter out. But if you're actually running a Sawyer filter that doesn't filter out any odors whatsoever, and you happen to be beside some rotten swamp pond that smells like dead fish, you start filtering it because your tongue's hanging out of your head, you're going to be like, God, I got to have it. Now, you can filter it. The Sawyer will filter it, and it will be okay for you to drink, but it doesn't have a charcoal filter on it like First Need, the one I use. And now, all of a sudden, you literally have to taste and smell that dead fish while you're drinking it. Yeah, that's going to go over well when you got food poisoning, doesn't it? So, let's take a look at something else. Now, we looked at the ingredients, right? Let's go deeper into this. So, Mountain House says we've got a single serving, 280 calories, and it contains 560. 280, 560. Let's go over here. 400, 810. Wow, this is like double, eh? So, Peak has double the calories, is what it has. Let's take a look at sodium, 470 milligrams. Okay? 470. What's this one have? 790. Mountain House has almost over double. And you can go through and check the rest if you want, but this stuff's garbage. Why do they put so much salt? Because they're trying to boast that, oh, it'll last 25 years. It'll last 30 years. The more salt we put in that, the less chance of it going bad. And that's why they have such a high salt content. Now, they not only have a high salt content, but they got to balance it with the flavor. So you like it. So it tastes good. Okay? Now, if you look at this stuff, you don't even know what that is. Are those chunks of real meat? Or are they chunks of flour balls dyed? You know, look at those noodles. They're all kind of real tiny. That does not look appetizing to me. I'm sorry. A lot of people say they taste good. I think they're okay, but I don't think they taste good. Okay, we go ahead and look at this one. Now I can see the mushrooms. I can see the meat. Now this place says they use real meat, but yet you go and look at the ingredients, it looks like shit, it'll kill you. So I see a lot of people running these, and like I said, you're going to get food poisoning. You're going to drop dead. Going to be a lot of preppers along the road. If you guys just walk about 5 feet off the road, you're going to see them all laying there with all this free gear. That's for sure. Now, I'm sure if I make enough videos about this, all the big YouTubers will finally start talking about this shit, just like they did when I actually started talking about backpacks not being proper. Although I still see people using improper backpacks without proper weights, and without them being measured to their back. They're still doing it. I don't know why. When I mention it, they get pissed off and they ban me. When I generally just want them to be healthy and be wise. So in other words, you shouldn't be putting any food in your buggo bag. You shouldn't be putting any food in your get-home bag. You know, when you build a get-home bag and you take it and put it in your vehicle, you're going to be like, okay, I'm good to go. But you made a mistake. You left your food in there. And now it's spoiled, and now you're dead. You should have a food bag. It's a small bag you keep your food in. It should sit in the house. You should try to keep it around 60 degrees. And this way, it will stay good for a good 5 years, if not more. But you can't take food and put it into 120-degree heat. That's just a stupid person. This is food. I don't care if it's freeze-dried. It's not perfect for freeze-dried. It's still food. There is still bacteria. There is still virus. There is still things getting in this. You have to put this in the proper environment. You want to do a test, go get a dehydrator and dehydrate some food. Go buy a bag of carrots, a bag of peas, whatever from the frozen section. Bring them home, dump them in your dehydrator and dehydrate it. Put it in a jar, put some of those things in to suck the oxygen out, and now you're good to go. I've done this. After 2 years of it sitting on a shelf, the peas are all molded up, and yet there was no moisture in there. All food goes bad, even when you can it, even when you freeze dry it, even when anything you do to it, it goes bad. It doesn't last forever. Even when you put them in food cellars where it's cool all the time. Well, why do you think it's cool? Keep the bacteria from joining. from moving forward. You get a bad potato and a bushel of potatoes, it'll infect the rest. And that's why a lot of times the Amish will have their potatoes on racks. So that way when they go down and check, and they check every day, if all of a sudden one of those potatoes look bad, it gets pulled off the rack and thrown away. That's to prevent the rest from getting infected. You not only have to take care of your food, you got to watch over it and guard it. But you take this shit and this stuff's expensive. You know, you're going to spend $78 for 6 of them and think, okay, it's going to take me a couple days to get home for my get home bag. So I'm going to buy 6. I'm going to go spend my $80 and then I'm going to throw out my bag, throw out my car, and I'm good to go. All of a sudden, it's been sitting there for an entire month at 120 degree heat going back and forth. And you think it's going to be fine. It's not. You can't leave food in 120 degree heat. Now, if you put your get home bag inside your car and now you drive to work, you can't leave it in there and think, okay, it's only going to be in there 8 hours. What the hell? No, you have to take that food bag out of your get home bag, put it inside another bag or whatever, and walk into the office. Always trying to make sure that that food doesn't get to outrageous temperatures. And now you're going to be okay. When you get home, you're going to want to take that food out of that bag, take the food in the food bag, pick it up, and bring it in the house. The bag, the get home bag, can stay in there with the flashlights and everything you need, but the food won't. And then I end up hearing about people saying, oh, well, you need those marine bars. Now, those things last forever. You ever taste those fucking things? It's like eating sawdust. There is no quick fix for this. Now, when it comes down to $13.95 for that, I got fed up. I got 2 choices. I either carry the weight or I don't. Well, I don't want to eat this shit. So I carry the weight. So I made a complete dish set that is a pot, a frying pan, a plate. I mean, it weighs about 2 pounds. It's heavy. So 2 pounds, and I get to eat steak, steamed broccoli, and I get to eat real food that's good for me. If I buy 2 steaks, they're $30. So $15 a steak. This is $14. So I'm paying $1 more for a nice freaking steak, and then I spend another $2 or $3 for broccoli that I can just throw in my pack for 2 or 3 days when I go backpacking. I don't know why these people are running this shit. They go out camping for one night, or they go out camping for 2 or 3 days, and the next thing you know it, they're running this crap. Why? It's not good for you. And it's expensive. Take real food. So what, it weighs a little bit more. You're going to be eating it as you go in, and then when you come out, you don't have it, so the weight's not going to be there. You know, you can take a steak and freeze it, roll it up in tin foil. It'll last you a couple days before it thaws out. You just got to think different about food preservation. But what these guys are doing is stupid. Now, if you buy this by the box and you leave it in the house and you use it as food storage and you keep it around 60 degrees, this stuff will last you 5-10 years. Now you're taking care of it. You have to take care of your food. You know, I have some of this. I probably got a good $500 sitting on the shelf. I mean, yeah, I don't take it backpacking. You know, when you're prepping, and I think people lose the concept of what's going on, is that you're buying time. That's what you're doing. I remember this one client I had, he sat back and he had a maid come in cleaning his house all the time. And I said to him, well, it must be nice to be rich. He says, no. He says, all I'm doing is buying time. My wife works a lot. I work a lot. We really don't have time to clean the house. And if we take the time out to clean the house, then me and her don't get to spend time together. So if we pay somebody to actually clean the house, because me and her are both working, we have double incomes, he says we now have more time to go out for supper while the house is being cleaned, so we get to spend time together. We're buying time, and that's how we looked at it. I thought that was an interesting way of looking at things. Whenever you can buy time in life, and you have the money to do so, you are actually putting yourself in a much better position with your relationship and everything around in life. And that's just the way it is. So, if you're going to carry freeze-dried food, have a separate little bag that you put it in. You carry it out like you would your briefcase or your little bags or water bottles when you leave. Put it in your vehicle. When you get to your job, you bring it in with you. Now, it depends on your job. If you're working in some factory where it's 100 degrees inside the factory, that ain't going to work for you. I'm sorry, because it's too hot. It's not going to work for you at all. You're going to have to look at some other way of doing it. Now, they do say you can live 30 days without eating. That's actually a lie. If you search YouTube hard enough, there are people that are extremely overweight. Some people are 500-600 pounds. They have decided not to eat. They'll take electric lights, vitamin pills, and they'll go over 6 months without eating. 6 months, not eating. Think about that. And what ends up happening is they'll go down to 180 or 200. They'll have a lot of flab that has to be surgically removed. But it is possible to do. Now, you hear about people fasting all the time. Different religions do it constantly. I did it. I went 5 days without eating, not too long ago, like a month. And the first 2 days were hell. I was dizzy. I had headaches. My body was not happy. I drank a lot of water. I found it very hard to walk. I did put a pack on. I did try to walk a good 5 miles. And it was very difficult without having the actual energy. I was able to do it, but it was not a happy time. By the time I got to the 5th day, I lost a whole 10 pounds, and I didn't even lose that much. Can you figure that out? And I did drop 1 pant size, and that ain't very much, because once you stop fasting and go back, you're going to go back up. And I did have to buy new pants. But the weird thing is that you can do it without food. So then some people want to get different bars or different things to offset it when they're walking to keep their energy up. Look, ideally, if you can run these freeze-dried packs and you can keep them in good condition by bringing them into the house, by bringing them into the office, and not into a factory system, I mean bonus. If you can do that. Your other options is, lots of bosses have air-conditioned offices and so on and so forth. In these factories, these low-end jobs, if you happen to be in one of those jobs, you could turn around and ask them if they could put a small bag in their office because you have food in it. And they may accommodate you. But you're going to have to come up with something different than just leaving it in your car in 120, 140 degree heat expecting this food to be good. Because you're going to food poison yourself. And that's all there is to it. And if an EMP shit hit the fan, nuke, you name it, happens, there's going to be a lot of dead preppers. You're just going to have to walk about 10 feet off the side of the road and you're going to see them all laying there dead. Because they don't have what they need to maintain themselves to keep going. Mosquitoes are horrible for you. I always worry about that. I've talked about that in videos when I've gotten sick and different things have happened in my body. Can I still set up my tent? And that's very important to me. Like just a couple of days ago, I got the flu for a 24-hour flu. And I started heaving, and it was horrible. Now, I was able to walk. I was able to move around. I was somewhat dizzy. I did go out and set up my tent. And I was able to do it. And then I crawled in the tent and just laid there. I didn't get the sleeping bag out or nothing right away. I just kind of laid there. But at least now I was protecting myself away from the bugs. Now, here's the funny thing about this. I carry a complete cook system that weighs about 2 pounds. I carry the big bowl. I carry a steamer. I carry everything. Well, most people don't. Most people carry a little cup they put water in, right? And that's what they do. Well, believe it or not, my pot is so big, I could probably be heaving my guts into it and be inside the tent and be perfectly clean. What are you going to do if you get the tent set up and you're at the point where you're heaving and you're inside the tent? Where is it going to go? You're just going to do it all over the floor? I don't think anybody thinks about when they get sick and what they do. Now, I've been sick when I've been camping many times. I've had this type of stuff happen to me. I'm 60 years old. I'm speaking from experience. You all turn around and read something or you see a commercial and you think, oh, there it is. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, it's the best thing to get you killed. So really think about what food you're putting in that get-home bag and how you're going to maintain it. Or else, hey, you just might be in my neck of the woods and I might just get some free gear. Catch you guys on the next one.